Welcome to it. This is Know Your Power, the podcast series brought to you by VW Amarok. And over the course of this series, we want you to firstly discover the man that is Seabelo Senatla, but most importantly, help you tap into what real power is. The first 5 episodes are live right now, so make sure you get them all by clicking the link in the bio of your favorite podcast app.
I'm the professional on the show already. You know, I stay diplomatic. I'm basically Switzerland here.
All good. Now, all good from my side. Okay, all good.
It's fantastic.
No stresses at all, man.
It's fantastic to have you guys here, and it's really, you know, I realize now that I'm getting a little bit old because I've been admiring both of you for so long, and now I'm like, oh, I'm kind of talking to them as a grown-up now. That means I'm aging. I'm the one that's aging. I mean, aging terribly, but aging.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You're gonna go now. Yeah, you know, flip. I woke up with sore knees this morning, and now you're gonna be like, yeah, you know, I grew up watching Flip play rugby, and then I go, come on.
That's it. That's what it is. I mean,
well, I'm on the other side. I feel like we flip you here, and then MK comes in between us, and there's me, still the youngster playing rugby. Unfortunately for myself.
Still doing
the legend still playing rugby.
Absolutely, and doing it, man. Now, listen, both of you, let's start right at the beginning, because I think we need to be very clear. You guys have a great connection point from the very beginning. The province where it all started for both of you guys, and before the greatness, is that the Free State, what we call the Free State here in the Republic of South Africa, means a lot to both of you because for a long time it was home and where it all started. So Seabelo, of course, Valcom, and Flip, you did your thing, and we understand you came through. I think didn't lose a rugby game in high school. Was it your whole high school tenure?
I did lose one rugby game when I was 16 years old. We lost a rugby game. Wow. That was about it. I saw our first team lose once, and yeah, it's a different type of experience. But yeah, we both came out of the rugby fabric. That is the rugby factory. Sorry, I was Afrikaansing the rugby fabric of the Free State province.
Well, geez, how do you go through your high school career without getting or enjoying a loss? Like, it's two different worlds. Like, mine is very contrary to what you actually experience. I got 50s every week, my guy. The house being grey, eh?
Did you go to the famous? Did you do Virginia Rugby Academy? No, you don't go there. You went to
only after school, but before then I was getting 50s. I was at Rivekstad High School, and there was nothing happening.
Okay, yeah.
I was
happy Virginia. The Virginia Academy was quite something. There's a couple of Springboks coming out of there. Isn't Sicily Africa coming out of there as well?
We've got
okay.
2, 3 if I include myself. Cecil comes from there. Bronco comes from there too, and Alistair Pomark, which is not a Springbok yet, also comes from there. So there's quite something that happens there. That's when I enjoyed winning here for the first time in my life. That's how I knew how it felt. And then once I got it, I was like, I never want to look at this feeling. This is amazing.
Yeah, that's the way to do life, is to be in and around winners. So that's actually why I'm here, is that I did lots of losing. I've done lots of losing in my life. So I thought, let me get near some winners, because one thing I've heard is that winning is contagious. So shout out to you guys, especially the way it's set up on screen now. When my mother sees this, she's going to be like, I was wrong for giving you all those beatings as a youngster. Is you are around winners. so it's great to be with both of you guys. And listen, obviously with those different backgrounds, ultimately you guys have done the most amazing thing, right? Every, I think, South African boy or girl now, which is a fantastic thing, either wants to be a Springbok Sevens player, play for VP, play at whatever level. That's actually, I think, for most youngsters, I think they need to hear this. And I don't know whether you guys would agree or not, is that if you're talented and you're brilliant and you do the right things and you're in the right academies and you eventually get there, is essentially, once you get to your level, that's the easy part. Once you get there, your talent is not enough. And I think there's another special gift which you guys managed to unlock, and I'd like to speak to it, is that you guys have managed to stay there at the elite rugby level. So, Sabs, I want to start with you. I mean, once that door cracked open after Paul True came and saw your mother and changed your life, is what was it that you told yourself that said, I'm not just going to be here, Mr. True, I'm going to stay here and then take it to the next level?
I think for me, it's the urge to be the best. I think that was always been my driving force. Everything that I do, I want to be the best. And I think that's how I keep myself challenged, because, you go through stages in your journey, when you're up and you're down and you're up and you're down again. But you kind of like want to have a certain standards that you kind of like uphold yourself to, so that, those up and downs are not too far apart from that standard or not too low from that standard. And I think that's how you stay up there. It's just challenge yourself constantly and having a certain standard that you go by and never trying to drop that standard.
Yeah, I mean, that is it. It's consistency is king. And I do love that. And Flip, I mean, you guys spoke at the beginning about maybe your different beginnings. Is that for you, is it something that was bred into you as Gray Bloom turned you, as you were a part of this machine? But even then, I would think, listen, there's lots of great guys who come out and play rugby. That's not enough. So for you, what was that magic thing that made you not just get there, but stay there? Do you think there were one thing or a couple of things?
Yeah, just amen to Seabelo. Sorry, got a little frog in my throat there. But that's the thing. Consistency is actually the key. The great man that is Rassie Erasmus once told us, if you want to be the complete rugby player, it's like the spokes of a wheel. It's not, the wheel doesn't turn if you only have one spoke. If you went to a good school, that's not going to be enough. If you have talent, that's not good enough. If you work hard, that's not good enough. Everyone who wants to be a professional, they go to the right academy, they eat the right stuff, they train hard. So what do you do extra? Are you consistently good? Are you surrounding yourself with the good guys? Are you surrounding yourself with the guys who actually want to perform and make you better, and actually not tell you're not good enough, you can't make it, but actually getting guys that motivate you, going to the right teams, finding the right places, because I mean, I had everything going for me. I came from a good household. I went to a good school, and yet there's guys playing next to me, or that played next to me that had nothing of that, but still had great successful careers. So I will repeat what Seb said, and it's all about the consistency. It's all about being there every day, come rain or sunshine.
And you do live in Europe now. It's often raining there. That must be a whole situation.
Mate, it is raining nonstop. You even see my poor plant behind me is not having us. It needs some sunshine.
Looks a bit sad. And now, Flip, I might as well ask you now. And you guys are both from the Free State, so famous for the potjie. Do you still do potjie up there in France now that you've left us here? Because it's obviously the best food in the world, isn't it?
I definitely do. I still value myself as the best briar in the house and in the region, and wherever I come, I have to impose the chess and yama on everyone.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Come rain or sunshine. And I struggled to get the proper potjie because that's not something you put in your suitcase and fly over. But then Helen High Waters found a German company, and I actually got one delivered around April. So potjies is coming.
Now that's important, Sebs. To that point, I think we should talk about the braaiing thing, because obviously I think in rugby teams and South African culture that's a huge thing. It's really, really important to have the right guy on the ones and twos there, because there's a lot of guys who lose focus because you know who the worst guy is? The guy who wants to be the DJ with the aux cable as well as braai. That's not the guy I want on my meat. So, Sabs, who's the guy in the Sevens locker room who you guys trusted on the ones and twos with the meat?
Definitely not Kwacha, because he'll make you eat raw meat. Man, it's like shit, it's all. So not Kwacha at all. I think a neutral vibe because we all love different meats. Like that's what I realized as well. Like having such a diverse group of people, you know, your quahas of the world love rare meat. I've gotten to love medium, and then you get someone like Shakes. They want that thing dead, no blood, no dead, no nothing. So you have to get someone that's kind of like being in those spaces, and I think someone like Ross Perspective was a very neutral guy. You know, he just knows how to do it for everyone so that everyone enjoys the meat. So he's quite good. I know he's a chatterbox sometimes, so you have to actually have people around the Bra area. Otherwise, you guys are gonna eat meat that is otherwise. Let me just put it like this.
I'm with you because you know who never gets enough credit at the Bra? The guy on obviously with the tongs or girl, he or she will get the credit, but the guy who's the co-pilot is crucial. The one who's bringing refreshments to the guy so that the briar doesn't have to move. That is a vital player in the game.
That player is very vital. Yeah. I mean, you have to go, not just for the briar, because obviously you have to play in two different roles. You have to entertain the rest of us that are sitting down, and obviously you have to entertain the briar. So you have to kind of like play in the middle, be very versatile. But I think that's the most important person.
Yeah, I agree. Flip, so obviously besides you, who's the guy for you back in the day who was you trust? I mean, Bri, huge thing. Now there's that brilliant hooker called Adrian Strauss. What's he like on the Bri? Or what's Farid Dupree like? Like, would he dish it from there like he would from the base of the ruck? Or is he just not the guy to be putting there?
I think he would struggle not to find a good Briar. A guy, Willem Alberts was probably the best. Yes. He's probably the best briar out there. I mean, he does. I do think he briars at least 7 days, you know, and then out of the 7 days, maybe twice a day he has a barbecue, you know. There's proper. My old mate Adrian is very good on making the finer things, you know, good. Like a little leg of lamb or like a pork roast or something. He's very good with that. Other than that, yeah, it's like Seb said, you have to be a very neutral buyer. You have to be able to be patient, and everyone wants their different things. One thing that I want to know is, Seb, take us through this. You guys are known to have this spirit in the sevens team. You know, we had our mate Chris Try there leading the charge every time, and it just, at least from the outside, it just looks so much fun. And you see the Springboks team bringing in that now, the singing and the camaraderie around and the taps on the back. Take us a little bit through that mindset. What is going in there?
It is absolute fun. Actually, we don't like calling it fun because Coach Neil says like that's a little bit loose. But we thoroughly enjoy ourselves, and it's quite important to have that. I think in the modern game or modern time that we play in. Because everyone is as equally as good, everyone is as equally as talented. The margins are very little. But when you have a team that enjoys being with each other, off the pitch, I think that really translates into on the pitch. And suddenly you have a team that's banded like brothers that are willing to die for each other out there. And that's a very difficult team to beat. I promise you, when people are literally selflessly out there to make sure that, you know, the brother is not exposed or the brother looks good.
Yeah.
That's very hard. But that's the type of culture we try to formulate in the sevens. It was an amazing culture, a culture of expression more than anything else. So everyone comes exactly as they are, and we just try to enjoy ourselves because we with each other like literally for the third or fourth quarters of the year. So you're seeing this person every single day. So imagine not enjoying being in the company. It's gonna be hard times for you. So we try to cultivate the type of environment to make sure that everyone is very expressive and we all come as we are and obviously form something together that is very comfortable for everyone to be in.
Yeah.
Oh, great. So basically just don't be the dick.
Yeah.
I'm not because he's laughing, so I know it's damn. What did you say?
Well, he said you just be a good oak. Basically.
Basically, that's it.
Just be a good oak. And we can see that. Like we can see that, right? Guys, something and I think that's a great thing because currently your career Seabelo is undergoing that transition, and that's an important thing that Flips just said. You know how tight you were in the sevens. It was a band of brothers. but you're now moving over to 15s, and that's been a part of your real world. And I think you know what, I want to come back to you on that and what that transition is like. But Flip, I want to talk to you about transitioning. You know, as a sportsman, is sometimes we define ourselves as what we are and we excel at, right? But you've managed to not only play rugby, is you've sort of transitioned towards being a working professional and a student again, and then a working professional. Talk me through that journey of how you separated Flip the sportsman from Flip the person, from Flip the worker, and how you managed to do that as a sportsman, because I don't think everybody understands just how difficult that is. And then we'll come back and talk about Seabelo's transition.
Yeah, cheers. I think first of all, the main thing is to stay the same Flip through all the processes. Is basically, you know what your strengths are, know what you're good at. Go back to that. We have managed to build up a certain skill set while playing professional rugby, and you know, ignoring that skill set just because you are in a moment of transition would be absolutely stupid. You know, so you know, I was known as a hard worker. I was known as a no nonsense type of guy, and that's the same approach, you know, that I take whenever it was in studies and in business. You know, so that's the same type of process we go through, and it's we went through in the rugby part as well. But you know, surrounding yourself with the guys that push you, you know, having your mentors outside of rugby as well, pushing and pulling you towards other goals that you have. You know, going through that process of goal setting and reaching your goals and working on the little steps. The same thing we went through in rugby is, you know, we used to talk about your turnover in a rugby is a week. You know, you start on a Monday, Saturday you play a game, you have your result, you know what you're doing. Where in business, it's a lot different. You start working on a Monday, and then maybe you have a result in 5-6 years time. So how do you change your goal setting, and how do you change your own motivation inside of you to wake up every morning and make it your passion?
Man, now I've got to go realign a few things. That answer is unbelievable. Hey?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Look, you chatted about something that's very interesting, was something I found fascinating. You said it's important that you keep the same Flip. You know, a lot of people normally think that, you know, when you transition, you have to be different, and rugby is kind of like, you know, was your whole life. But what I normally tell people is, like, rugby is a part of me. It's not everything that I do is part of me. And it's important to actually transition into life, a real world, having, you know, that type of mindset, because I feel like a human has different complexities. Like, we are so complex, and we diluted into certain spaces, and we love different things. You know, even though, yes, rugby is your love and passion, there's other things that you love and enjoy too. And normally people think like rugby is, you know, the holy grail of who we are. But I like to think it's really like part of who we are.
And that is important.
Well said.
Yeah, that is important, and it's a wonderful thing to hear from. I mean, you guys are really spitting that gospel. But now, Sebs, you are moving from 7s to 15s, and right now it's obviously, you know, rugby is, if not at the center, very, very close to it. Is that you're also making that transition? And is it a matter of keeping those same principles and coming across? Because the culture may change in 15s. You know, it isn't that band of brothers as we're together for, it's like 9 months of the year. You guys are doing it in 7s. What is the difference, and how is this transition going for you? And what are some of the transferable skills, both on the field and off the field, that you can take from being in a 7 setup to 15s?
I think the two codes are actually moving closer to each other in this modern day. When I slowly transitioned into 15s, things were a lot different. You know, small things like team dynamics. You'll get, you know, senior players and junior players. We didn't have that at the 7s, so I didn't understand the concept when I went there, because suddenly it was a system where you had to know your players, kind of. So that was one thing that actually shook me up. And obviously, Flip said it as well, you have to know your strengths. So when I transitioned into 15s, it was that era where they wanted big wingers, and suddenly I had to kind of like adjust my game and play like them, which made me move away from what I was really good at. You know, I was a very attack-minded player. Now I have to, you know, catch a lot of high balls, be very defensive, play a certain way, try to bash it up instead of trying to beat someone and go and score in their way. So my game's changed up. So a lot of things changed when I moved. Not too much on the field because I think rugby is rugby at the end of the day, the same rules, same everything. But those small sorts of things in the transition made you, kind of behave differently. And those are the challenges that I had. Really subtle things that people don't really, don't pinpoint or like mention, but those little things actually add up and matter. And me now, having been in the game for a bit and realizing that, hey man, you're not that person, You're at your best when you lean towards your strengths and not. Yes, you can focus. You can't focus on your weaknesses. You have to focus on your strengths. Yes, you can try to better your weaknesses, but that shouldn't be your focal point. That shouldn't be your foundation in how you operate. You should be operating via your strengths, not your weaknesses. And I was kind of like doing it the other way around because obviously I had to be this new person or play the game differently to how I used to play my whole life. So it was like a baby kind of in this whole transition. I was learning how to do things. So now I'm back into, I'm old enough now. I've been in the game for long enough. I'm like, no, dude, like, this is not you. You have to be you first. We chatted about it earlier. You have to be you first. That's the most important thing. And from that place, we can live life. Not live life and then try to be do the other.
Yeah.
So tell me this.
Also, how does it feel? Sorry, Maleta. How does it feel being faster than a GTI, mate?
It is incredible from a standing start.
This guy, it's crazy.
It's amazing, bro. I love moving fast, but we can say the same thing for you. How does it feel to be that strong and big, bro? Like, I've been with you for my whole life. You forget it. I mean, I've been carrying this for so long. I'm still the same.
Yeah. No, listen, that's why we need both of you. I mean, this country has like both a Flip and a, oh my goodness, Flip. I was saying next World Cup, imagine this. On the right wing, we got Colby, Jesse Creel. This is our lineup, Spoon Corsi, doing all of that. On the left wing, just as a rotation option. Like we score 1,500 tries in one World Cup. Obviously, like we got it going now. We've got like Seabelo. We can probably play Damien out there as well. I mean, obviously we've got the Jackal doing everything right now in Mapimpi. So Mapimpi, 15 minutes, and then we do a bomb squad. We change the rules. Rusty, obviously, once he's back, he starts rotating the guys, and it's 11 tries a half. It's just, hey, how about that?
What I'm hearing is you wishing for rolling subs.
Oh, yeah. No, we're changing the rules because we've got too much talent. It's not allowed to sit on the bench.
That would be something. That would be really something.
I'm just saying, you use it or lose it. That's what I'm saying. Guys, you know what? It's a real great thing for young men and women to hear from you guys, just little pieces of what it takes to stay at the top. I mean, I'll give you the last word here. Flip, we live in an ever sort of growing world of complexity and speed and all of that. And I just wanted to get from you, and Sabs, I'll give you the last word on this one, is that once you are done in terms of doing what defined you before, right? And you spoke of some of the skills that it takes to transition, is what is the world actually like for a sportsman? And now we're talking to sportsmen outside of the sports world. Once the lights go off every Friday, there aren't lights, and you got to do your work in a corner. Like, what is that like for you and Sabs? And you can speak to across your different skills and sets and business and all the things and the mentorship you're doing as well. But Flip, what has it been like now to transition to what you are? And tell us some of the gifts of transitioning.
Yeah, that is a great question, Bilelo. Is I think that is the biggest part that miss every sports person. You miss that shot of adrenaline that you used to get, when you partake and when you run out in front of a big crowd, or just that build up to any match. Even if you still play amateur sports, you still have that little bit of a build up, and you have that camaraderie, and you miss the dressing room. You miss that, being around the boys. We were allowed to have a few beers after the match still. You sit you sit there after a match, you knew you gave everything, and you take your shirt off, you have a beer. That's a little bit odd in the office these days if you do that. But it is there's that type of you miss that shot of adrenaline. So you need to build up into that situation. Otherwise, as I said earlier, otherwise you're going to find yourself in a spot of bother in terms of being depressed, being mentally searching for something to stimulate you, and that's where people fall into dangerous places. You fall into alcohol or drugs or whatever, to look for the next best thing. So having that little goals and setting those goals, to continually push you, same high pressure environment we got used to in rugby, that's very important. I don't know if I missed a part of your question there. I think that's
nailed it.
Basically what
that's why you got into Cambridge. You nailed every point. That's how you get into Cambridge. You got every single point and answered stuff I didn't ask and made the question sound better, actually. So you've absolutely nailed it. So Sebs, I'll let you finish off. I mean, you're doing so much. You're transitioning while you're still at your apex. So I'll let you finish off on some of the transferable skills and what you love about when you're a mentor, when you're operating as a businessman, of course, with the wine and etc. What for you makes it enjoyable off the rugby field?
Well, like I said, as humans, we are complex and we have different dualities operating all in one human being. So I think I enjoy, the different challenges that come with being all these things. I don't get the same challenges I get on the rugby field that I get in the business sense, in the mentoring space. Everything is just so different, and it kind of like gives me a very holistic type of box, if I may put it like that, which I'm challenged by. It challenged me in different ways, so I become a more whole-rounded person, if I may put it like that. But you talked about the lights, you talked about the noise, you talked about what happens when all of that goes missing. I think what I've done is I've kind of like let myself, be in a space where the process leads me and not focus too much on the actual result. And I think that keeps me going because in the process, it's a one-man validation type of thing. If I approve, if I'm happy, if I'm good, then it's all good. If I get external appreciation from what I do, then, that's bonuses. But from where I live my life right now, I'm living from a validation of one. And I think that's more fulfilling than actually, trying to live to please people, because when all of that is taken away, like Flip said, you end up having a void in your life.
Man. That is awesome. And if there is knowing your power, it is understanding that power does shift. It is a different dynamic. 40, 50, you've got to exercise that power and share it. And what I love about you guys is the amount of team you're talking about. That tells me that's why both of you're not just thinking me. There's a reason you guys got to the top, but there's a reason you stayed, the team. And I think that's extremely inspirational for both me and anybody listening to this. Flip, excellent moustache. Awesome to chat to you. Superb sweater now. As the oldest guy on screen, I commend you as the elder. Now, Sebs, I want to say to you, obviously, I'm biased. But I know you guys were having who's got the best dread competition in the sevens. You've easily won, by the way. Because I've seen you change it, plaited, across, holding it, cornrows, tightening it, loosening it. So shout out to you for winning on and off the pitch and at the barber. So shout out to you guys. And both of you gentlemen are... It is a true privilege to know both of you and have both of you with me today. So thank you so much, gentlemen.